Hey. What's going on, car guys and car gals? It's Lou Ramirez, the car guy.
And it's Fred Lenartz, the subprime hero.
And we are live and back again with you, my friends, our colleagues, the incredible people in the auto industry making incredible things happen. We are excited to be here with you today. We might be a little frozen on the screen, but maybe they hear us on the podcast live stream. I believe we're still recording somehow. But car guys and car gals, we want to get excited about the special stuff that's getting ready to brew right there with you all. So do us a favor. I know you got us nice and closed. I love the pose.
You need to share.
Fred's got the face on like, Lou, what the heck are you even saying?
My lips are like,
it's like, dude, shut up,
it's
dude.
Like, that's
Whatever,
Magnum.
Dude.
That is
anyway.
Magnum. Man, let's see what happens. I'm going to just try something really quick to see if we can unfreeze it by hitting E. Hello, there I am. Hey, listen, I'm going to try to get this thing fixed. I'm going to keep messing with the camera, but right now, here I am. This is the one angle. It's one, but I don't think that's the one I want.
You know what you need? A cup of car guy.
No, there we are. We're back. Here we are. I got it fixed. All right. So sometimes you got to just adapt and overcome. That's what we do.
That's what
Solutionaries do. Well, hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Fred Lenartz, the subprime hero.
And I'm Lou Ramirez, the car guy. And you know what we're really ready to do? We're ready to highlight people that have gone beyond mobile first and been talking about making things better in the industry. Our friends over at Nabthat. Pumped up about that. So let's get this show rolling and go ahead and share this around while we get this popping and locking. Get the ball rolling. We are excited to go beyond mobile first with incredible Solutionaries and others that have given us lessons on how to handle the microphone and do a show or two. We've had some fun in different areas inside of the business, collaborating together with our microphones, our opinions, our joy, and our expertise. And we are honored to be in here with Ian. And folks, this is a special treat. So you got to do yourselves a favor and forgive, focus, and fly when it comes to the beginning technical difficulties that we had.
It's better than an echo.
A car guy, get a car gal in here. Tag them up. Tag a car guy. Tag a car gal. Share. Come on, bring them in. Let's go. I'm out here. I'm getting ready to start sharing right now.
We got all that figured out. It looks like the camera's working right. We got somebody in the green room ready to come in here and have some fun with us. This is our friend, man. I got a chance to hang out with him a couple times, and man, he always makes me laugh. We've had some great conversations on the phone. We share text messages. We encourage each other, and man, Nabthat is where it's at, right? And I'm excited, man. I had to do it. I had to bring it.
Nabthat is where it's at. I said, Nabthat
is where it's at.
Let's go. We gotta get this brewing and stewing. So tag a car guy, tag a car guy.
Doing it right now, my friend. Doing it.
There's a whole lot that is brewing on carguycoffee.com, a whole lot cooking right now with the certified Solutionaries. And you need to make sure that your friends, your colleagues, those that you want to see come up be upshifted and uplifted in this business, sip on some of the stuff people have been pouring out. Some real incredible people have some great knowledge that they pour out for free for you to sip on. And there's so much of that you need to get a hold of. And because of this, we are teamed up with Nabthat because they completely champion the message to forgive, focus, fly, to keep growing, to make sure that people that are trying to actually find solutions in this industry get solutions when they sip on what's brewing on this show. And that's what's happening right now. And because they champion that, they've been supporting the Car Guy Coffee brand. They've been making sure that people out there are actually getting better in what they're doing. And that's why we brew with the best like them. And we are honored to have them represent us, for us to represent them, and for us to have an incredible light like Ian in here. So without further ado,
JB Floyd.
JB.
Before, there is going to be further ado. JB Floyd says,
we got more ados.
All good, guys. Ian is so cool. And he's so right, man. Folks, I can't wait to get him on the show. It's going to be weird because we're not going to have his dynamic duo of Jeff Polo, right? So I'm excited to have Ian all to ourselves. We get to share, grow with him, folks. I'm excited. Just like JB says, I take a pour over coffee right now.
Come on,
that's right. Let's go. Let's pour out some of this brew right now. Without further ado, Lou. Without further ado.
Without any more. We are going to go ahead and get you some more of the best beans brewing in the business today. Car Guy Coffee Podcast is honored to welcome in the incredible, he's a host, he's a car guy, he's a solutionary all the way around that keeps growing. He is the one, the only Ian Nethercott.
That's my man. Woo.
What's happening? Look,
and enjoying the summer, enjoying some obviously Car Guy Coffee stuff going on.
Yeah.
So always happy about that, and obviously talking to dealers as I always do, and people from all over the industry, but lots of dealers obviously. Had a really interesting show this week with Larry Feldman talking about people and training, not just training, which was interesting. So with my partner in crime, Jeff. And if you're going to be in Toronto at the end of this month, we'll be live doing a subprime panel at a used car show in Toronto, which should be pretty interesting. 29th this month in Toronto. I think one of the largest used car events in Canada anyway, but it should be an interesting show.
Well, I think that's very awesome. I think that's going to be very interesting. A subprime panel, huh? And that's because I know that there's a difference. I mean, there's a lot of things between being in Canada and then down here in the United States, the way that you guys do business. I mean, it's similar, but there is slight differences, different rules, different guidelines. The subprime market is a different type of market than it is down here. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about that. We could probably touch into that a little bit as we go through this show today. But, the thing that I'm really excited about is having somebody with you with the experience that you've had. And it's not just through you. You're a legacy. There's a lot of things going on in your family. You've been in automotive for a long time. You've been doing it. You're with an amazing company, Nabthat. Lou mentioned, one of our sponsors, but somebody that we support because of their background and what we believe is solutionary magic, right? That juice that we want to pour in, that caffeinated culture of coffee that's blended with the best, right? And you guys are the best, man. I appreciate everything, and really I got to appreciate you, man. You're the one who turned us on to it. You're the one who showed us all about them and how to get connected with them and to be connected with them. And you were so right on the money. And I think that the advice that you've given me and a lot of people you've connected me with, much appreciated, dude. You've done nothing but give good advice. So we appreciate you. I look forward to learning a little bit more today. So let's talk about that. Let's get into Forgive, Focus, Fly first.
Yes.
Yeah, I almost forgot, man. I can't believe I did that.
Let's go ahead and just change a little bit of this pigmentation that we're talking about here. Let's get more on the Nabthat side of things and focus on what it takes for us to make sure that we do keep flying, and that's to always forgive. And with that, I'm sure that there's plenty of opportunities inside of your career, inside of your walk, your talk, your life, that you've been encountered with the opportunity to hold on to something that can slow you down or to release it so that you can speed forward. And in that, we believe that the Forgive, Focus, Fly message is something that people are living out. They're just finding out it's actually a cool move to do. And with that comes with 3 motions, and that's to wipe off the weight of unforgiveness, to focus on where it is that you're going and who you can help, and stretch out and fly so that you can keep growing. And if you're anything like us, you got a little sound in the back of your head, and it sounds like this. So do it on 3 with us as we forgive, focus, and fly together. 1, 2, 3. Forgive,
focus, fly, and keep growing. Keep growing. That's
There
right.
we go.
Now
Let's
we are here.
grow.
You know the deal. Appreciate you for doing that, man. You're such a good sport. Always have been, man. True
Yes,
solutionary.
sir.
Somebody I consider a friend, a mentor, a peer. Anything that I could ever do for you, I would. Man, I appreciate it, man. Today, we're going to talk about Nabthat, your journey. I want to talk about you finding out about Nabthat. So let's talk a little bit about your history, man. Let's talk about what got you into automotive. What made you want to be part of the automotive career? Why'd you want to make one?
Well, I have a family history in the business. So my grandfather started out in gas stations, and I owned a number of dealerships. My dad, my uncle worked in the business. My dad, before, was a medical doctor. My cousin works in the business and runs a dealership in Ontario. So very familiar with that. But actually got into the business years later, just because I have a passion for cars, and everyone told me, well, not everyone, certain people told me not to do it. So that was even more reason to do it. So I ended up starting at a Honda store about 22 years ago. My manager was actually originally from North Carolina. I think he's back in the US now, but actually the store is a couple blocks away from my house that I started at. But basically got into selling cars, loved doing it. Loved the challenge of it, loved the differences day to day of what happens and what can happen. But more importantly, it's just a different industry. It's not your typical sales or management job. It's not your typical retail job. It's really a lot of fun if you look at it that way. I think a lot of people, especially today, look at it as more of like, oh, it's got to be a process and this and that. But really, car sales is about people. And, that's what makes it fun. But more importantly, people are passionate about cars. As long as you treat them with respect, it's generally fine. I think the car business got a bad rap historically, but realistically, most people in the car business are great people. They're just doing their best, right? So at the end of the day, that's what the car business means to me, but I'm also a car fan. So to me, it was being able to be around cars all the time and show people why this is a good thing and why they should look at it was challenging, but also interesting. So
love that.
That was why, I guess.
And that's amazing. And just to think, folks, listen to that, Grant, it's been part of his DNA, but at the same time, it's also a calling that he knew he had, a way to be able to make a difference. I believe that we need more people like Ian. That's why we highlight things like this. So this highlight isn't just about Nabthat. It's about the people in Nabthat, and we're going to talk about Ian because once again, Ian's the one who turned me on to them. And I'm excited to have you here, man. Like I said, I do consider you a friend and I love talking with you. So it's a great way to be able to vibe out and share with the world. Right. So that being said, let's talk about how you found Nabthat. So let's fast forward in your career. Let's talk about right before you went to Nabthat. What made you make that pivot to go there?
Well, a friend of mine, ironically, through LinkedIn, who's also a car guy in the US, connected me to Jason, who's the CEO of Nabthat.
Mm-hmm.
I have, believe it or not, a history in automotive websites. Back in 1997, me and my brother actually started a company in Maryland trying to sell websites to people. And I remember going to some of these meetings, they're like, oh, the yellow pages, that's the future, man. I don't know. I don't think it's got legs. I don't think it's going anywhere. So, fast forward, 20 plus years later, and it's like, websites are interesting, but more importantly in automotive, they're not that interesting. And the reason being that a lot of automotive dealers think having a website is enough.
Right.
Whether it be dealer.com or pick your company. And realistically, companies today, all over the world have much more advanced platforms and much more advanced experiences that really most automotive websites don't have. They have very outdated experiences for consumers, and consumers don't like them. Jason likes to say clunky, but what got me interested is the mobile first philosophy, or beyond mobile first, because the company founders actually cut their teeth on mobile, and mobile devices are the future. But more importantly, building a website on current technology. So building it around consumer experiences, building it around technology that makes sense, specifically on mobile, but on other devices, that's fast and easy to use. But more importantly, it's built around the most important thing in any transaction, which is the customer. And, that to me is, part of the reason why we've won awards back to back to back, but also why our sites perform so well. is because they're not the same as everything else. They're just not. And to me, you know, you got to dare to be different in automotive. You got to be a trailblazer. You got to be out there. I mean, there's always going to be those companies that just go with the old school stuff, but that's not the future of automotive. I mean, we were talking earlier about sort of the changes going on worldwide between the manufacturers and the dealers. Well, part of that is just the experience. They want a certain experience for their customer. They want the McDonald's relationship or the Starbucks relationship. And, you know, dealers need to step up. I mean, that's the reality. You need to enhance that experience because that matters. And, the dealers that I've worked with, both in Canada and the US, who've done that, they have a dramatically different result. So if all you had to do is change your website and it dramatically enhanced your business and grew your business, and even in a competitive market space, why wouldn't you do that? Why do you want to be the same as everyone else in your market? I mean, that's not the car business in my book. So that's what got me interested. But it was a LinkedIn connection that introduced me to Jason. I didn't know him before that, actually. So
it's fantastic. What a great connection that ended up being. You know, and to be able to grow and see that you're seeing progress happen, you're seeing how back to back awards can show. And I mean, there's evidence right there, my friends, that, you know, that's the thing. Like a lot of times we sometimes may have a year we shine, but that's like one of those one and dones. We see those salespeople, they come out sales in a month and you never see you do it again. Right. And you see that with companies out there, like they come out. Their technology was great, but they're not evolving. So what that tells me, over 3 years in this world, because things change so fast, technology, software, information, the way we even have to do SEO changed so quickly in the way everything went. So when you have a website, you want it to work. To win an award 3 years running, that means that you were evolving. You weren't just staying the same and just resting on your laurels on some old technology. You're still trying to update. You're trying to look for it. How do we make it better this year? What is our plan? Maybe I guarantee it's probably quarterly based off of that type of how fast the pace of information is going. So kudos to you guys and gals out there over at Nabthat for doing that. But man, Ian, how awesome is that for you? How do you feel when you hear that we're back to back to back?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're always moving forward. I mean, we're in process of launching our next generation platform, which is coming to Honda dealers first in the US, but eventually in Canada as well. And that's a light year jump ahead of where we already are, which isn't yet reflected in these awards. So I'm sure it will be next year. But also, we've had conversations with Honda USA and Honda Canada recently about sort of their vision as to where they want to go. And, you know, really, you need to be on a platform that's robust and flexible enough to implement all these initiatives that the OEMs are going to push forward. I mean, it may take them, we were talking about Ford, it may take them a year to 2 years or 5 years, but they're moving forward with pushing. They're changing things, and you need to have that state-of-the-art platform like Amazon and Netflix and Hulu and others in order to build these technologies that the customer wants, but so does the OEM. I mean, we heard things like digital retail and Carvana and all these things, but that's not to say that the retail platform is going to be like that in the short term, but you definitely need that functionality. You need to start thinking about, what does the customer want? What is it going to take to attract that customer as the market continues to change? And you need to work with a company that can build those solutions or implement those solutions if you're using a third party. Or, for example, and we had this discussion with Honda, and they had a big list. You know, here are the 10 things we want to see, right? So, you know, this is not something that's going away. And I've had discussions with dealers who are on these calls with the manufacturer, and the manufacturer's got this list, you know, like, we want to see this and this and this and this. And the reality is they're eventually going to be forced to do it. So you need to be with a company that can adapt to that change. I had a gentleman yesterday, he wants very specific integration with very specific companies, and his current provider can't do it because they just aren't able to, right? So he wants this functionality. And you know, we can do that for him, whereas these other guys just can't. I mean, it's not realistic to think that, you know, it's not a moving target. I mean, technology moves every day. Like, it's crazy how fast things move. And that's why it's great to work for a company where things, you know, it's not a problem to move forward. So
I love that.
Go ahead.
No. I just love that. I love that.
I love that. Nabthat. It's I mean, it's like a fire also. once it catches, and it could spread very fast. Technology, but then it needs to be resourced. It needs to be replenished. It needs to be refueled, right? It needs a constant re-energizing of what it takes to make it go forward, and that's where our industry keeps finding itself. But with that, you find solutions to different problems, right? And there's a lot of problems that are brewing out there for the industry, and we can see a quick effect of just a few conversations can get an entire industry all riled up over what it looks like when one side starts telling another side what to do, or has as much control as it does in making decisions for the entire pipeline of business. And with that, there's still solutions that need to be fused together. And like it's always highlighted, it's up to the customer. It's up to what it is that they want. We're adapting to their preferred method of purchase, and we are going to become as relevant as we make ourselves to the customer, no matter what. And that's the adaptation that's happening for anybody. With the heavy is the head that wears the crown, and at the same time, it's the crown needs to be cast off its own head many times in order to get in there and find out what it takes that keeps this going. A people business is still about people, and learning how to manage that is key. And our solutions are important, but I think that just as much as it's important, our customer, I believe that the importance of our colleagues, the colleagues and our customers, how we do life, right? I always want my salespeople to know I will run through the fire with you, right? We will go through the fire together. I'm in to do that, as we just spoke about a little earlier. But at the same time, we're going to do right by this customer. But no matter what, this customer doesn't trump your value to me. I'm not going to not have you taken care of at the expense of just making a customer happy, right? We are in this together to take care of the customer, but we're in it together, right? I don't want this mission without you. There's a coexistence that I believe that we need to have. And I'm going to get philosophical in any case scenario, but knowing that the technologies that we do use together are in that. It's into the personal connection that we make with the customer, and how they interact with that technology is key to what it's fusing in what they want in a relationship with our product. And what do you think about the solutions that are needed for actual fusion together of the problems that are brewing out there right now with the OEMs and dealers and all that? I mean, what are you seeing out there as more of the solution that Nabthat also could bring to it?
Well, it's interesting at the AWA Awards this year, Mr. Pash was talking about sort of the OEMs and where they're going to go, or whether they're going to force dealers to go. And that was an interesting conversation, and it's becoming even more interesting now as we've seen Ford fire some volleys across the bow of dealers saying, we're going to do this, and this is how it's going to go, and this kind of stuff. I think realistically, when you look at what Porsche does globally and what they're probably are going to signal moving forward and what's happening in Europe, is the manufacturer wants that experience on the manufacturer's website and on the dealer's website to be similar. They want that person who's shopping for a car on Ford.com or Ford.ca to be similar to abcford.ca. They want it easy for that customer to do whatever they want online before they go to the store. So the question then becomes, and this is a question that's come up many times, including a conversation I had, as I said, with an OEM, what is the best path for the customer? Is it end-to-end purchase online? Is it select the car and build the car and then order it online? Is it select the car, build the car, finance the car, do the paperwork, and then have the car delivered? I mean, what is it? So I think that's still to be determined. But the other thing that I think is really kind of unfortunate, for lack of a better term, is it has to be a conversation. Wow. We're in process of building the next generation of digital retail platforms, which we're hoping to have out in the next 12 to 18 months, maybe sooner. But we're going to build it very differently, because what we've found is that there's a high abandonment rate with existing digital retail platforms. That's not to say that they're good or bad. It's just that customers don't want to go through all those hoops by themselves. It's a journey. Not all customers are going to want it that way. So I think part of the challenge from an OEM point of view is it will be this way or the highway is not really the answer. The answer is a transition and coming together and saying it's all about the customer. We have that relationship locally as a dealer. You have a relationship as a manufacturer. How can we work together and break down silos and create a better experience for the customer? Not oh, you must do it this way. You know, we're going to give you $500 to deliver this car. That's it. That's all she wrote. That's how it's going to be. I just don't think that's the answer. The answer is to have a discussion and to get on the same team. I think the dealers are just as passionate as the manufacturer to deliver cars. It's just that they may have different priorities. I mean, you've got to give them time to transition, and it's got to make sense. What makes sense in New York City might not make sense in Oklahoma. What makes sense in Toronto may not make sense in Calgary or Edmonton or Saskatoon. What makes sense in Florida may not make sense in Seattle. Who knows, right? I mean, it's a different market, it's a different customer. But I think what is changing is the customer journey. Years ago, you know, they looked in the yellow page, they looked in the newspaper, they came into a dealership and they bought a car. Today, it's like I spend 10 hours online, I'm trying to figure out which brand, which thing, and then eventually I come in and it's about that experience. But that experience online is what dictates whether they even come in at all.
That's it, because that's the starting point. And I think we're seeing every year over year, that the percentage of the people who start at the website is higher and higher and higher. You're not getting the lot drive-bys anymore, especially when we couldn't even have people on the lots a couple years ago, right? So it started to get more familiar to start there, to even communicate there. Now the communication level was brought up. I mean, 2-3 years ago, who was doing as many Zoom meetings as you're doing now? None of us.
Probably not very many.
Right.
Well, I was on the show this morning, David Long's All Thing Used Car Show.
Yeah.
He had a really good analogy that I shared this morning on LinkedIn. He says you got to think about a website in the following way. An SRP is like someone driving by your store and seeing a car on the lot. A VDP is like them going up to the car and opening the door. And really, I agree with that 100%. I mean, there's all this lingo for websites, but really that's what it comes down to. Yep. If they're not at least digging into looking what you got in stock or what you have in inventory or what you have inbound these days, then you've lost them. If they're not digging in and then saying, okay, I'm interested in that car, moving down the funnel and saying, I want to open the door. What are the pictures like? Do you have pictures of the inside of the car? Do you have pictures of the outside of the car? The pictures look like crap. Is the description not good? How easy is it for you to communicate with that person? How easy is it for them to move forward? I mean, it's basically an evolution of the in-store experience online. That's what's happening.
It's the busiest. What's happening with the metaverse too.
It's the busiest showroom that you have. I mean, the most traffic you get is on your website. You won't get as much traffic as you do on your website, but the showroom floor does not have that many people come tapping in there.
Yeah, like if you're on a real estate website.
Yeah.
Pick your real estate website, MLS, Zillow, whatever. What if that website had really bad experience and no photos? What's the chance someone's going to be interested?
Nobody would look.
None. But you're sitting there on a 360, every angle, zoom in, real time, high def picture as if you're there, which is all that is needed to be fused together. I remember when early in my career and looking at a Navigator, and Lincoln had this special little video that you would do to bring you directly into the car in real time, and you push a button and it does exactly what it looks like inside of the vehicle. And that I knew what that, but nobody else got excited like that on their website. You know what I mean? There was an experience that they were making sure was brought to you on that marked me then, right? Went into trying to find that only because of I wanted to just push that button to open up that flap. Wow, that was really cool. It was one of the wow factors that they captured on video. Customers want to be able to do that. And if you can put them through that experience, which if they can eliminate now, they're happier with you. They're thankful that you did something for them that they couldn't get anywhere else. That's why it's that important that you do see what's actually available and utilize that.
Yeah, and the younger the customer, the less likely they want to spend a lot of time in a dealership. I mean, I talked to my niece, She has a philosophy like that about banks. She doesn't want to go to a bank. Why? Why do I have to go to a bank? And that's what you've got to look at, is that 40% of the population is trending that way. You need to adapt to them. Grandpa's not coming to buy to kick Chevy tires today. Like, that's not happening.
Right.
I mean, it's just not. It's not to say that there isn't some older customers still out there, but they're a very small percentage of the market. And you have to adapt to not only the technology, but your sales force and your process has to adapt to the fact that that customer may not want to come in until the end.
Right.
They may not want to come in until they decided that's the car and then they want to drive it. In some cases, they may not even want to do that. They just want you to deliver it to their house. Right.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying that's the perfect process, and I'm not saying that's me, but at the end of the day, I mean, you've got to adapt or die. And that's really what it comes down to. When you look at website to website, not even brand to brand, but just dealer to dealer website, customers are making decisions based on, do they like the website? They haven't even called you yet. They're looking at it going, not
Right.
like they're eliminating you without you even having a kick at the can. Like, it's just, I hate the website I'm out. I mean, the average website converts less than 1% of traffic into a lead. What does that tell you? 99% of people hate it. That's what that tells you. That's horrible. That shouldn't be acceptable.
That's as simple as what he just said right there, my friends. You viewers out there, you dealers, you GMs, you marketing directors out there, listen to what he just said there about your website. If you're only converting 1%, 99% of people hate your website.
Yeah, they don't like it.
Think about it. And that tells, it's like if your salesperson talked to 100 people and only one bought, what would you do with that salesperson? Right? Think about that. That's how I want you to think. I want you to think about, I had 100 people in front of me and only one bought.
Yeah.
That you would probably can them. Yeah, that's not something that's really advantageous in our business. That's not cost effective. Those leads cost every penny they're worth. So that being said, that's what you're doing with your websites, and you're allowing it to happen. So if you wouldn't do that with your staff, why would you do that with something that you pay money for too? And they're not even it's not even producing for you if you're converting 1%. So what's the point?
Who cares if the manufacturer's paying or co-oping the cost of it?
Yeah,
I mean, you're spending money building your reputation, and customers are moving not only brand to brand, dealership to dealership, based on experience. It's not even about the product anymore. Like, I see this on new and used cars. I mean, I know dealers think they got it figured out because we can sell every car we can find. I get it. But where are you missing? Like, where are you missing where you could pick up business? Whether it's a factory order, whether it's a used car, whether it's service business, whether it's part. I mean, I talked to you the other day, so I want to sell more parts. Well, there are dealers that sell parts. I know it's the holy grail, but what's your parts experience like?
There you go. There you start right there.
Like, it's probably not good. I would guess.
I would imagine that they probably can't even find the parts department when they walk in there. They probably don't have a good way to get them aligned to them. They probably don't have anybody sitting in there half the time. They probably don't have any of the parts that they need that they know that they're going to probably need. There's a million things that you can go through that a parts department ran horribly because they say they want to sell more parts, but they don't really do what it takes to sell more parts. They just say it. And there's something about just saying it. That's why you got to put action towards what you say, and that's what Nabthat does. And that's one thing I love is, like, if you guys reach out to them, and you see down there right now, there's a number, it's 844-NABTHAT. And if you reach out to them, set up a demo. I swear to you guys and gals, you owners, you GMs, you marketing directors, your website, if anything, needs to just be evaluated. Have them look at your website and let them show you what they can do differently to help get you to the next level. Let's go from a 1% to, if you could even go to 2%, it's worth it. That's what I'm just saying. Like, folks, I'm just saying, but you're going to go way better than that. The ROI on this is way high. The biggest thing is they pay attention to details. Ian, and on the private chat, he sent me what the website's, the whole new way it looks, man. And I love it. I'm looking at this Honda site and it's beautiful. And it's so just what you want to see. So folks, reach out to them, learn about that. It's important. You keep it simple, yet clean. You make it effective. It hits the point, like everything that you want. It's clickable. It's there. It's a good looking site.
Yeah, your site shouldn't be a pop-up Las Vegas sideshow.
Right?
That's not what it should be.
Yeah. Whoa.
Or the staff at your dealership. They're like on some sort of witness protection program. How do I get in touch with them? I don't know.
Right. Oh no.
Email. Who knows what they do? I mean, it's unbelievable. Like those kind of things fixed today. Like it shouldn't be hard for someone to reach out to a salesperson or a manager at your store, whether it be service or parts or sales. Like, why are you making it difficult for someone to talk to someone who might be able to sell them something? Like, why are you doing that? And why are you irritating people on their mobile device with 20 different pop-ups and 6 different colors? I mean, what are you doing? Like, that's not good. Don't do that.
Right.
You know, like,
You wonder why, and then you wonder why they're mad,
Yeah,
right?
really.
You're already annoyed by the time you got them on the phone,
Yeah.
right? And
pop-ups don't work well on these devices for lead forms. Not a good idea. Don't do it.
They don't. They absolutely do not. It's so true, though. So listen to that. Get a call. 844 Nabthat. Simple as that. I love that number. Or you could reach out to 321 Fred Lou. We'll get you connected. Ian's our homie. Jason, love him, man. Jason, shout out to Jason Silverberg, man. Great guy. Great visionary. Really trying to make a difference out there. Jason, love you, man. Man, is let's talk about the future. Let's talk about what you guys are foreseeing happening over the next 12 months in automotive, not just what's going on in automotive, but what's going on with the digital retail side, especially when it comes to websites. Like, what do you see it going to? I mean, we're talking about metaverse, all this crazy stuff. What are you guys thinking?
Well, I mean, we're upgrading our platform to the latest version of Angular, which is the Google framework that we're built on. So we're moving to version 11. We're in pilot now, so that'll be rolling out very shortly across North America. So the reason we did that is we wanted the ability to build the next generation of tools and the next generation of experiences for customers. So currently we're testing features. We were talking about 360 view. We've expanded that, which had already existed on our older sites. We've integrated more ordering to build an order database. So it's a very simple form where people can order without digital retail. We're going to be building the next generation of digital retail shortly, which will be a customer journey-based piece. Metaverse, it's interesting. I had Mr. Kramer on the Auto Hub show. We were talking about the metaverse and how that works. I think it's early days in the metaverse, so I'm not 100% familiar, but he said it was clunky. But, having said that, I think that you are probably looking at Web 3.0. So it's something that you want to be looking at, on your roadmap. I mean, when, I don't know. That's really up to you. I'm sure it'll be something that'll be on our roadmap as well. But when, I don't know. I mean, it's still pretty early days. But
I agree.
I do think a portion of customers will want that experience.
They will.
They want to upgrade it. So
I kind of want to try it myself, maybe.
Experiences, you might want to upgrade it to a current one at least, and then really think about how to get to that next level, which I think is why Brian Kramer was all into it. He wants to be ahead of the curve, and I'm sure Ben Stock and the boys won't be far behind. I mean, the Trailblazers are always out there pushing the boundaries, and I think as a dealer today, when you have a new problem, which is I have a lot of money that I made last year, you might want to invest some of it in some training or some process enhancement. I mean, a new building's great, but without any inventory, that might not be the best investment.
Plus, sharpening you got to sharpen those tools that everyone has, all your salespeople, all those things that, if you're not training and you're not getting better, a lot of times, we just had the best times of, best year of our life. Well, it's been pretty easy to do that for most dealers this past year. So now that you've made this extra money, instead of just hoping that it's going to happen again, why not invest in your people? Why not train them? Why not get them ready for the next, coming of 3.0? Why not get them ready for having to do more digital retail with people and being able to make sure that people like Carvana and other companies like that are not going to take over all of our retail. I don't mind them being part of it. I think it's great. They keep us sharp. They keep us trying to make sure that we do things. But at the same time, let's make sure that us car guys and car gals out there who actually, pound the pavement and really try to make things happen. Maybe we pound the pavement a little bit less and we just get on the phones, we get on social media, we start making posts, we start doing things that are important. Having a website that is readily available for people beyond mobile first. That's what Nabthat does. They make sure it's ready.
Short videos. We have that on some of our sites. We had a lot of results with that. Use of video on SRP pages and VDP pages is also lethal, in my opinion. Obviously, bearing in mind that the TikTok generation's attention span is shrinking. But, if you're not already as a sales team or as a marketing team using video on social or using video in your communications, I mean, there's lots of talk about texting, which is great, but why not send a video? I mean, I think that video has already proven itself to be a really good way to communicate. I mean, I see a lot of transition on websites to, instead of calling me, text me. But what you want to do is give the customer the option. Schedule a call, schedule a test drive. Did you want a video response? Did you want a text response? You prefer email? Give the customer options. I mean, you don't know what that customer prefers. The younger ones may prefer a text message, but you may be wrong there. Maybe they want to talk to a person. I think what you want to be as a dealership is of help and make it easy. I think Ben Stock and others talk about a frictionless experience.
Yep.
And that's true whether it's your bank, whether it's a mortgage, whether it's a car purchase. How can we make it easier for you to do business with us? How can we take it off your plate? How can we make it a great experience? And to me, that's really about streamlining things where they can be, but more importantly, using technology where it makes sense and customers like it to make it easier. I mean, no one wants to spend 8 hours in a car dealership by choice.
No. I think at least 99.99% of us don't, right? And I think there's always that one person that some reason wants to go in there and have that time and, speak, have conversation. There's the tire kickers that end up buying, right? Those actually, you're going to spend probably 50 hours with them before you sell them. But at the end of the day, they do end up buying. They all do. Yeah. And here's what I do love. And here's in fact of the matter, I do love that I do believe there needs to be a frictionless experience for everybody, but everyone's frictionless experience is different, right? We got to understand that. We have to understand that not everyone wants it to be a certain way. It's different. Everyone's a snowflake. So we can't say, one thing that we can't do is we can't say this is the only way. There has to be multiple ways. There has to be training so that everybody out there who's working deals they're not just a robot like a machine. Right. Then we can just go ahead and do it with AI and do all. But if you're not, you're a human being. We need to understand that this situation needs to be taken care of differently. This one right here, I'm going to may need to be 2 months before I sell them a vehicle because they need time to be able to touch, feel, make sure. There's people who freak out when you put too much pressure. They don't like you, they leave. Mm-hmm. So you have to do the right thing and you have to know how to do that. And that's something that not a lot of people are taught anymore. And that's something that's kind of being lost. So I do love the fact that we're moving into the digital world and we're trying to make it a streamline, a frictionless experience and all that stuff. I agree. But we have to remember that everyone's frictionless experience is going to be different. If they're going to want it differently, like I just mentioned a moment ago, a frictionless experience could be them coming and spending 8 hours at a dealership with you because that's what they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you look at what Genesis is doing. I mean, they've been trying this for a while, and I'm not sure what the percentage is between them delivering cars people to try or for service versus people coming in. But again, it's about what does the customer prefer. Give them options. I mean, I used to deliver cars to customers for test drives 20 years ago, so it's not new. It's just a question of how can I make it easier for you?
That's it. And that's as simple as that.
What can I do to make it easier for you to buy it from me or to check it out for me or whatever that is?
And that brings me back to Nabthat. And when you go to Nabthat and you look at one of their websites, you'll see that that's the experience that they're trying to give people. Mm-hmm. They're trying to make sure that when you have options to click, that it's the kind that make it simple for you, right? This way, if you're an online purchase, you could buy it online if you want it to be that way. Or if you want to set an appointment, here you go. If you just want to chat or if you want to call, that's all available very clearly, whether you're on your phone, whether you're here, it's very simple. Click, 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 here you go. They make it frictionless for you. So it starts with the website in today's world. And that's the whole point of everything we've been talking about today, our audience and everyone's watching, right? Is understanding that the experience starting at the website is way more common than it ever will be. This time next year, the percentage is going to be even higher. So why not start now? Reach out, 844-NABTHAT. Nabthat. Beyond Mobile First, my friends. Man, what a great show today. What a great experience. Ian, is there anything that you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Yeah, I think dealers got to be unafraid to look at the future. I mean, the past isn't coming back. The days of the up bus aren't coming back. The days of using the yellow pages and newspapers, I don't know. Maybe that's not a good and bad, a way to spend your money. I mean, I've had a lot of people lately ask me about Auto Trader and Cars.com and Car Gurus, and what I always say to them is, I say, hey, it's your marketing budget. Yeah, you've got to determine whether that's worth it for you. But more importantly, if I'm directing people to a website, why would I accept capturing less than 0.5% or 1% of traffic? Why would I do that if when given a choice? I mean, all you're doing is increasing the result with the same activity you're already doing with marketing spend. You're not changing your marketing spend. You're just getting a better result. It's that simple, right?
And that simple explanation is so hard to get plugged into this industry that has such a slow turning rudder. It is something that we've been wanting to announce to the world, right? That you can get more with less if you let the technology do its best, you
Yeah.
know. And I guess that's like a campaign. I don't know. That sounded great. Just rhyming that together. But the understanding that you can get more, you truly can. You can get more with less effort, and you can maximize the manpower that you have with the right technology, and make your customer happier if you embrace that. Yes, before it was done great, and that was a good old day, but these days are even better. It's even better than that. The job is easier. The entire purpose of technology, whether it's the best website in the world or having a shovel, right? Whatever the case of technology, whatever the problem is that it's solving, celebrate it, embrace it, and use it. I'd much rather, use an excavator, but I won't be mad that an excavator showed up because I'm so in love with the shovel that's always worked for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's get to work, and hey, this is great news. We have technology that can help us out. Let's rock. Let's do it. Let's figure this out. And I think that you're right. There is a disconnect with dealers when it comes to something that worked before. Say, cool, but that was new to you at a time.
Yeah, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, we're a technology company. So if there's an idea that you want implemented, you want to work with third-party integration, whether it be Roadster or Moto Insight or Auto Verify or you name it, AutoFi, City Corp. I mean, we work with all these companies, but more importantly, we don't sacrifice that customer experience, that online experience, to work with these third parties.
Right.
We make sure that the site isn't impacted and your results aren't impacted by adding additional features. I mean, we're not against chat. We're not against Twilio integration. We're not against PayPal. I mean, we can do all those things. But the most important thing is that you work with a company that builds technology, not a company that's just building templates, which unfortunately is what most of the website companies are doing. They're not building. There's no technology. It's a template on WordPress, which is is really 20-year-old stuff. Like, why are you using, to your point, why are you using a shovel when you could be using a power hammer or whatever that is?
Yeah, a tool that will make the job go by 10 times faster. And that's the whole point here, folks.
Because I once had a spoon,
update.
Right?
Yeah,
now
cool.
I have a shovel.
Great. Yeah, it worked. I did it one time. It's like the guy who said, the guy who says I sell 30 cars a month, but only did it once in his life. Right. So, and that's kind of what happens, But that being said, folks, reach out there once again, 844 Nabthat. Ian, man, thank you for being on the show today. Thanks for coming on. It was good to hear a little bit more about your history, about your history in the business, how you found Nabthat, and why you're part of this culture and what you're trying to do. But brother, tell them a little bit about the Auto Hub show, man. It's such a good show, dude. I absolutely love it. Tell everybody just real quick, shout out about that real fast.
Yeah, Auto Hub show every Monday, 11 o'clock East. It's a live show. We do a different topic every week. If you go to autohubshow.com, you can check it out. If you're a fan of Larry Feldman or you want to be entertained, either way, it's fine. His show is this week. We are doing live shows. We did NADA this year. We're going to be doing, obviously, live shows in Toronto. But really, it's about helping dealers get better. So we have different shows every week on all kinds of topics. It's on Zoom. It's wherever you get your streaming, be that LinkedIn or YouTube or on audio format. We put it out that way as well. And, we have lots of great sponsors. We have, Elfie is a sponsor. The BDC experts are a sponsor. Gale is a sponsor.
Shout out.
And Rapid Recon. Rapid Recon, not to be forgotten. We really appreciate their sponsorship. And of course, it's really about, free content for dealers and industry professionals who want to get better. Also, if you're a fan of Brian Benstock, check out our 45-minute interview on YouTube it's a pretty interesting conversation about the OEMs changing the model. He couldn't be on the show live because he was meeting with the OEM. So it was a pretty interesting conversation about where he thinks the future is going. Change is constant, but the point of the show is really just to help people in the auto industry. Auto Hub Show.
There you go, man. Big shout out. Lou and I have had the honor to be on the show before. So I'm a multiple time guest. So I can say hello. Love being on it, man. It's always an honor to see you, my friend. Can't wait to see you again and give you a big old hug, man. Appreciate you and appreciate everything you do and the way that you support us also. And of course, appreciate you over at Nabthat, man. Nabthat's kicking butt over there, and we appreciate the relationship we have with you all there. Jason, shout out to you, man. Be well, be blessed. And my friends, Lou, let's get out of here, my friend.
Well, let's go ahead and make sure that the whole world knows that our incredible friend over at Nabthat is
100% CGC approved. That's right.
Check that out, everybody. Now that stamp of approval is out there, give him a call. Give them a shout. You have the number streaming right there in front of you, and you can go ahead and comment on this. Tag a car guy, tag a car gal. If you want a real, true, honest evaluation of what it is that you're doing on the website, give them a call. Okay, but car guys, you know what we got to do is we get out of here and we finish out the day brewing solutions with the best. We got to forgive, focus, fly, and keep growing, y'all. So let's go ahead and get this jamming out with the incredible Solutionary we are brewing solutions with. This is the message they've been supporting, and we honor them for it. Let's forgive, focus, fly on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Forgive, focus, fly, and keep growing.
Keep growing. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, Ian. You're incredible. Keep brewing solutions, brother.
Peace out.
I'm Furlong, Subprime Hero.
And I'm Lou Ramirez, the Car Guy. And we have been brewing solutions on the Car Guy Coffee Podcast with the one,
the only Ian Nethercott.